guys. Hello guys and good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Okay, I am. So good evening guys and welcome to another live class for today. Yes. So I just need somebody to confirm you can hear me, okay, so that I can adjust. Margaret, good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me? Please let me know. Thank you for liking the video. Those of you that are liking the video, the first person that liked the video, God bless you. You always be liked with the favor of God. Okay, so guys, so if you are just, yes, Ejiako, good evening. Obiefuna, good evening. Thank you so much. Okay, so guys, we're going to start straight into our tutorial for today. Good evening, Richard. You're watching from Ghana. Good evening. Nice to see you guys. Nice to see you. Oh, it's like the picture is not on this one. I actually forgot. So what we're actually doing today is a bustier blouse. I am trying to see, can I minimize this? Good evening. Can I minimize this? I need to search for that picture. You're watching from Ghana. Thank you. You're watching from Ghana. Thank you so much. Good evening. Glorious Eku Kudu. Good evening. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. So let me see. Let me just read the messages. Good evening, Chibest, Margaret. Thank you so much. Obiageli, welcome. Okay, Ruth, you're welcome. All right, guys. So I had to go back to go and try and see if I could screenshot. If I could screenshot, the picture is not very clear though. But what we're making a beautiful blouse is not clear because I had to screenshot it from my screen now with a shoulder yoke. Okay, so it's a simple blouse, but this kind of blouse, the technique there is on the yoke and the shape, so you can just see the shape. So that's what we are going to learn how to do today. So for those of you that are joining, you are going to learn excuse me, you are going to learn something new today, I assure you that. So guys, so let's get started. So it's a bustier blouse, so let's start. So what I'm doing at this point, I am cutting my pattern paper. So I'll adjust my table right now so you guys can see my table. Yes, my table is all set. I want everything fully seen. So like I said, those of you that have been following me on my live stream, you notice I had to get a new table just because of this our live classes. Okay, so now we're going to start our drafting. So what we are going to do at this stage, because the back of the dress is a very unique one, so we're going to draft the back. So this is the back of the dress. If you can see, can you see how beautiful the back, the shoulder yoke is at the back? So like I said, I had to just screenshot this for my screen now, right now. So what we're going to do now, so let's draft the back with the shoulder yoke. So when you want to draft a pattern, for those of you that don't know how to draft a pattern, let's do an introduction to pattern drafting. So when you want to start your pattern, you have a start line. So this line, I'm going to mark a line here right now. So this line is going to be start line. You should please like my video, okay? Can you see? So this is the first line, and this line is going to serve as my starting. So from this line, the next thing I am going to mark now, I am going to mark my bust point line, which is the nipple point. So okay, which is the nipple point for this blouse. So the nipple point for this blouse from the shoulder line is 11 inches. So this is 11 inches. I'm going to put a dot here to indicate that we have 11 inches, and then from 11 inches, which is the nipple point, I'm going to mark another line, which is the under bust line. So that under bust line is 14. So usually the difference between bust and under bust is usually like 3 inches. You understand? You can see 11, 1, 2, 3. It's usually 3 inches. So most times, if in case you are confused, as a tailor, as a fashion designer, you will be able to estimate it as you walk along with different customers body sizes. Okay, this line we are going to be marking now is our waistline, which is usually 18 inches or 19 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to mark 18 inches for my waistline, and then the full length of our blouse, that's the blouse, we can use 18 or we can use 19 or 20. So I'm just going to leave it at 19 inches, which is okay. So all of these lines now, I am going to connect them back. Okay, so that's point line, which is the nipple point. We're using 11 inches, and then this is the under line, which is 14 inches. That's from shoulder, we have 14 inches, and then this is our waistline, which is like the full length of the blouse. Or I don't want to rule the two lines. This is the waistline, which is 18. Okay, let me just rule it since we are doing a live class. And then I have my hip, which is like the full length. So now we're going to label the line. So this is our shoulder line, that's the first line, and then this second one is our bust point, which is 11. Our under bust, this under bust, which is 14, and then we have our waist line, and then our hip line, which is also serve as my full length line. Okay, so the next thing, we're going to come to this point, and we're going to come to the shoulder, because people saw that that blouse has a yoke. Okay, so we'll come to the shoulder line, and then we're going to mark our shoulder measurement. So the shoulder measurement that we are using for today's dress is 14 inches. So you divide 14, for those of you that are beginners that don't know, you divide your shoulder measurement into 2. Okay, when you divide that 14 into 2, you are going to have 7 inches. This is 7 inches point here. I'm going to add 1 inch to it. Why are we adding 1 inch to it? The essence of adding that 1 inch to it is because of stitching allowance. So you need it in all of your garments. So I'm going to place it like this, and then from that spot, I'm going to come down by 1 inch like this. You can see I just came down by 1 inch, and then from that 1 inch, you are going to float that 1 inch into the shoulder line. Can you see? Just see. So all you are going to do, just like float it, connect it back into that point. Okay, so now we have our shoulder slope. So this is called a shoulder slope. So from this shoulder slope now, you are going to mark your armhole measurement. So in marking your armhole measurement, you can divide your bust measurement into 6 and then add 1.5, or you can just measure this person's armhole round and divide it into 2, or you can use the standard measurement that never goes wrong, which is 9 inches. You understand? So these are all of the different methods. Okay, so for this, my armhole is 16. So when I divide 16 into 2, I'm going to have 8 inches. So from that point, I'm going to mark 8 inches. So when I point my 8 inches here, I'm going to connect it with a straight line. Why am I connecting this line with a straight line like this? It's because I'm going to use this line as my chest line. So chest line is usually 8 inches. It's like a standard measurement that never goes wrong. You understand? So I'm going to mark it this way. So after marking this way, the next thing you want to measure this line, which is 8 inches. Of course, we've measured it, and then I'll mark 4 inches. 4 inches, because this is a back armhole, I'm not going to come in. So what I'm just going to do here, from this point, I'm just going to create a curve like this. Can you see? So this curve, my armhole, this is like my armpit. Okay, so the next thing we are going to start adding now, we'll add our full body measurement. So in order for us to add our full body measurement, you need a bust pan, which is your nipple to nipple point. So you guys should like the video, like I said. So that bust pan, which is like nipple to nipple, that's from one nipple to another. That's from this nipple point to this point. For YouTube go say. So I am going to be making use of 9 inches. So 9 inches, you divide that 9 inches, you will not place it as 9 inches. You understand? For those of you that are coming to pattern draft, so on my live streams, I want to be dealing more on pattern drafting, to like those people that don't know how to draft patterns. I just want to like teach you people so much about how to draft patterns. So we'll be doing pattern drafting on most of our live stream classes. Okay, we'll still be doing sewing, but we'll be pattern drafting. I just decided that. So for those of you that don't know how to draft pattern, you can always come to Stylish Naija online, what do you call it, you will learn, because I'm going to break it down very well. You can see what I'm doing tonight. So let's continue. So that nipple to nipple is 9 inches. So you don't want to place 9 inches like this. That one you buy market. So you are going to divide it into 2, and then you place 4.5 like this. So that 4.5, you're just going to go and mark that 4.5, mark it across all of your lines. Okay, so most times I normally mark it across all of my lines like this, and then I will connect it to a straight ruler, with a very straight ruler like this. Okay, so I'll mark this. So this is our, we're creating a dart. We're trying to create a dart. From this point now, we're going to mark our dart. You understand? So for this back dart, we're going to use, okay, I'll come back and read this. Let's see. Somebody just dropped a message. Good evening. Please, ma, is it constant that between bust point and under bust is usually 3 inches, but somebody, what that's 3 inches is standard, but somebody that is very busty could be 4 inches. Okay, could be 4 inches, but 3 inches is just, I'm fine. Good evening, Ajayi. Angel, thank you so much. Yes, it could be 3 inches is like standard, which is normal, but for people that are busty, you could get 4 inches. So sometimes some measurements differ, so that is why I normally advise for you to measure. 3 inches is like a standard. Maybe if the bust is less than 30, if you use 3 inches, it's going to work perfectly well. Okay, so let's continue. All right, so the next thing that we want to mark, we want to add that to this point. So our dart, this is our chest line, this is our bust point line. So we don't want our dart to enter into our bust line. Okay, so from this bust line, we can decide to come down by 1 inch. Just mark a point here, and then from this point, from this under bust, sorry, from our waist, we'll come up by 2 inches. So this is just like a way, because I don't want my dart to hit, I don't want it to take out from my bust. So that's why I did that. If not, normally I could just connect my dart up and down. So for the dart we're taking for the back, we'll take 1 inch. So that 1 inch, what I want to do with that 1 inch, I want to divide that 1 inch into, so I'll take half to my right and then take half to my left. Okay, so from that half point like this, just watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to connect to this point like this, and then I will bring it this way. So I'm going to stop for you guys, so you can see I connected it this way and then brought it this way, and then from this point like this, I connected this way and then brought it this way like this. Okay, so this is the essence of doing this, is because I don't want my dart to hit my bust point. You understand? But if I wanted it to hit my bust point, there are some designs I don't mind let it hit my bust point. So for those designs, what I could do, I could come down chest line by 1 inch and then just curve in my dart this way. Do you understand? So these are 2 different ways of taking out dart. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be working with now, the bust measurement. So the bust we're with is 40. So let's do big size today. So that bust measurement is 40. So when you divide 40, now at this point you want to place that mark on your chest line area, which is 10. 40 into 4. You understand? So you are going to have 10 inches. So you place the 4, you mark it like this, just mark it at this point. So like I normally tell my online class students, tell everybody that have come across me, pattern drafting is not a big deal. It's not a big deal. That's just the truth. So just watch and you will see. It's the same thing that we do with our freehand. View. It's just that this one was in a pen. So that's just the difference. So don't be scared. So just rush to my channel and my live streams, you will learn pattern drafting very well. Okay, so let's continue. So you people know that we placed that 10 inches, we placed it on our chest line. So the same thing you placed on your chest line, you are going to bring it down to your bust point line. You understand? Because it is the same. You understand? So when you place that, so at this point, there are some pattern you can decide to add your what do you call it, allowance into your patterns, or when you're transferring to your fabric. So it depends on what you want. Okay, so but most times I always prefer to add my patterns, my allowance or my patterns. Why? Because I want to use my pattern and take a good look at it. Good evening, Anastasia. And take a look at my pattern. My pattern is looking good. Okay, so I'm good to go. So at this point, to add 2.5 inches allowance. Why? Because I'm going to still take out one. I'm going to use that 1 inch here. So I'll place it this way. Most times, if you have been following me, you know that I like to add plenty allowance in my dresses because I don't want trouble. Yes, because I don't want trouble. It's better for me to trim it off when I'm doing my final coupling than for it to be truncated. Okay, so now let's continue to line. So our waistline is 36. Sorry, our waist is 34 inches. That's sorry, our under bust is 34. 34 inches, which is 7.5. Let me just confirm. 34. Let me cover. Yeah, 8.5. I don't know people when don't know mathematics. So I'll place it here, and then I'm going to add my 1 inch for my allowance back, and then at this point I'll add my 2.5 inches allowance back into my pattern. So at this point now, I want to curve this. I want to connect that line. Just connect it to this point, and then I'm now left my waist measurement. So for the waist, I'm going to be using 36 inches. So 36 divided by 4, I'm going to have 9 inches. So I'll mark that 9 inches this way, and then I am going to add my 2.5 inches allowance this way, and then my hip line is going to be 40 inches. So I'll just mark that and then add my stitching allowance this way. Okay, so after marking this, I am going to use my curved ruler like this, and then I'm trying to hit the points. Okay, so you can see I've hit that point. The next thing we are going to do now, we're going to create out that yoke, okay, for the back. So this kind of yoke, guys, this kind of yoke, after creating this kind of yoke, when you cut it, because of the nature of the yoke, what you are going to do after creating out everything, you are going to place it on your chantilly lace. You understand? On your chantilly lace, you are going to place that yoke, and then you will be able to just like trim it out. So I'm going to show you guys what I mean after the class. Okay, so now let's create out the yoke. So the first thing we are going to create out, we'll create out that round neckline. It has a round neckline, and if you notice, it is a tight neckline. It's not a small neckline. Okay, so that neckline, I'm going to use 3 inches wideness for the neckline. So I'll mark it this way, and then from that 3 inches, you are going to come down with like 1 inch or 1.5 inch. Depends on how choky you want. What I mean by choky, there are some customers, they see a style, they will like it, you sew it for them, they tell you that the neck in them. The neck is choking them because that was what they saw in the picture. So when you now say it now, they'll say the neck is too tight, it's choking them. Yes, of course it will choke. So from this point now, the next thing that we want to mark this yoke, and it is a very simple process yoke. So from this point now, so from this point, we are going to mark how wide we want this part to be. So it's from this point now, this point here, that is where we are going to mark. You understand? That is where we are going to mark. Depends on how much we want it into our armpit area. If you notice, this one entered into the armpit very well. So I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to like show you guys 2 ways. Yes, like see, yeah, our pencil is here. So let's use our pencil. So the first one, from this point like this, so you can come down by half of an inch, okay? And then from this point like this, we can mark it. If you notice, this one did not, it entered into the armhole, did not even reach this point. Just like from the armhole, you come up a little bit with like 1 inch like this, okay? And then from that point, you are going to mark something like this, okay? So you mark something like this, or you can decide to hit it at this down point like this. So if we are hitting at that down point, from that spot we are still going to mark it like this. So I'm just looking for like the best way to actually do this. And then I'll use the curved part of my ruler like this. So I use the curved part of my ruler. So it's better for me to do this and then take a good look at it, at what I have, and see that it is okay before I mark with my pen. Okay, so after this, here's what I'm going to do now. So at this point now, I'll use my ruler, my pen, my marker pen. So it is, so from this point you come down with like half of an inch. Do you understand? Just like a quarter of an inch or half of an inch. And then from this point you are going to use your pen like this, and then you are going to create this. Can you see the curve into our armhole area? So from this point now we are done. We are basically done. So now we are going to cut. So for the back, I noticed that the back of this dress has like a small slant basque. So let's try and add that. So in order for us to add that, what we are going to do, from this point, which is our waistline, we're just going to create like a curve down this way. So that curve, it depends. It depends. So you can use 2 inches or you can use 3 inches. So it depends on what you want. So from this point now, we're using this 1.5 inch to come up by 1.5, and then, so this is the back. This is the back part of our pattern. Note, you understand? This is the back part of our pattern. So I'm just looking for like the best. Okay, I think this is a little bit better. Okay, so you can see, yes, so it came down a little bit more than necessary. So can you see? So at this point now we are going to cut out. So let's cut. So in cutting, so if you are just joining us, please give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate for you guys to like my video. Let the right people watch my video. Let the right people comment. Okay, so at this point now, let's cut out our yoke. So this is the neckline part of our yoke. So you cut that off like that. So after this now, we're going to draft the front part. So this is the yoke now. Can you guys see? So that's my yoke, and then this one, we're cutting this one off because it is no longer needed. Okay, so when I finish, I'm going to read my chart. So drop your questions. I will come back and answer every one single question. Okay, so if you notice, I did not snatch the waist of this. We have done a lot of waist, whether it's waist, I want to say waist snatching on this channel in our live classes. So another time we'll do it. Let's, okay, yes. So you want to label your pattern 1, 2. Then this is our back yoke. Write it so that you will not miss it. Okay, yes. So this looks so pretty, so beautiful. So you can see, guys, can you see? Can you see? So this was what I was saying. This is what I normally do after drafting. I'll take a good look at my pattern. Is it good? Is it looking fine? From here, from your pattern, once you see it from here, you will be able to know if that dress is going to come out well and fine. So you people should please like my video. You see 3 dots at this side. Just click on the 3 dots. You will see the like button. Like it. You people should use that one to like. At least use that one to support the channel. All right, so now we are done with our back yoke. So thank you so much. Good evening, Mom. It's Fanny. You're welcome from Zambia. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's looking really good. Yes, thank you so much. So let's go over to our front. Let's see wait. So when we finish our front pattern, you can do. guys, so for those of you that are just joining us, you have missed a little, but at least you with this one, you will still not miss very well, but you have missed small. So now let's start our front pattern, guys. So in drafting our front pattern, we are going to go over our lines again. So for those, because of those people that are just joining, let's go over it step by step. So like I said, this is a live class, we don't rush here. So now we're going to mark all of our lines. So in drafting a pattern, the first thing you start line, because you cannot just start drafting. So you need a line that you call a start line, and then you mark that line. So that line, you can just come to your pattern paper and just mark any random line, maybe like from half of an inch from the top. And then the next lines we are going to be adding, we're going to be adding our bust point line. So this is bust point, this place, which is called the nipple point. Okay, so for today's draft, we're going to be using 11 inches for that. And then the next line we are going to add is the under bust, which is this point, is 14. So like I said, for you to know if a measurement is accurate, if the bust is a normal bust, the difference between the bust point and the under bust is usually 3 inches. But for bigger size bust, for like bust 45 to 50, it is not usually 3 inches. Can go as much as 4 inches. I have seen 5 inches before. Yes, so when you sew for different people, you will see measurement that you have to call one of your colleagues and say, abeg, let me look this thing normal. So that's 14 inches. And then the next measurement we are going to be measuring is the waist measurement, which is 18 inches. And then we are going to be marking another line, which is 24 inches. So this 24 inches is going to serve as my hip line, and then the full length of our blouse. Okay, so after that, we are going, all of these lines that we marked, if you have a question, this is a class, you can just drop your questions on the comment section. So I'm just marking all of these lines now. That's the lines, the points that I indicated. Yes, I think that's a better word. I am connecting them. That's like I'm ruling them down. I am highlighting them. That is what I am doing. For those of you that say pattern drafting is confusing, no longer confusing. Come to my live classes and see pattern drafting simplified. Okay, yes, simplified. That's what we are going to be doing from henceforth. All right, so the next thing we are going to do, let's label our lines. This is the shoulder line, and then this is our bust point line, which is the nipple line, and then this is our under bust line, this is our waist line, and then this is our full length. We can also call it a hip line. Yes, so the next thing we are going to be doing, see, I'm doing like a teacher a teacher then in classroom. So guys, the next thing we're going to be doing, we're going to come over to this shoulder line, and we're going to add our shoulder measurement. So the shoulder measurement we're going to be using for today's class is 14 inches. So you divide that 14 inches into 2, guys. So don't place like this and measure 14. No, it is wrong. So you divide that measurement into 2. We're going to have 7, and then you add just 1 inch allowance to it, like this. And then from that point, you are going to come down by 1 inch. Can you see how I'm placing my ruler? Just mark 1 inch like this, just like indicate 1 inch. And then from that 1 inch, here is what you are going to do. You're going to float that into your shoulder line. Okay, yes, float that into your shoulder line. And then after that, the next thing you are going to do now, we want to take out our armhole measurement, which is called armpits. And look at them, armpits. Armhole, yes, it's an armhole, don't mind me. That one is a gross style. So it's armhole, yes. So armhole, you can divide, in getting your armhole is a simple, there is a standard measurement of measuring armhole, which is usually 9 inches. So 9 inches will work for anybody, but people that are orobo, 9 inches will not work. Okay, so orobos, we can do 10 inches for them. But normal people, average size people, 9 inches is perfect. Okay, perfectly perfect. But in order for us to be very professional, you are going to to divide your bust circumference by 6, and then you add 1.5 inches to it. That's the second way. And then the third way is you are going to measure your armpit round, that armpit that I was saying, measure it round like that. So whatever you have, you divide that into 2, okay? So for mine, I'm going to make use of 8 inches. So I'll point the 8 inches here like this. Then, so like I said, if you don't know how to draft pattern, just be looking out for my live classes, okay? I assure you that your pattern drafting game is going to change. So after that, that line, we're going to connect that line. Just connect it like this. So now this new line now is going to be our chest line. Let's extend a little bit because it's going to, yes. Am I managing it? So this is going to be our chest line. So chest line, standard measurement for chest line usually 8 inches, which is standard, and it works perfectly for everyone. Okay, so in case you don't want to show your business, but those people that want to show business, okay. So the next thing, we are going to mark half of this measurement, this armhole line, which is 4 inches. So that 4 inches, this is the point of my 4. Because it is a front armhole, I'm going to come in by 1/4 of an inch. If people notice, when we're doing the back, I actually did not do that, okay? Yes, because, so I'll mark a straight line like this at that point. That's just rule a straight line. That's how to mark it. You don't want to confuse yourself. You understand the hand? And then from this point like this, just do this. Can't you see how beautiful it looks? Yes, it looks beautiful. So now the next thing we are going to be doing, we are going to be taking out our darts. Yes, for front patterns, darts are very, 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 very crucial, important, and very, very, I reserve my comment. So we're going to be using 9 inches, which is for our bust pan. That's one nipple point another. You divide that into 2. We're going to have 4.5 inches. So that 4.5 inches, I'm going to mark that 4.5 inches across all of my lines. All of my lines, okay? Yes, I'll mark that across all the lines. And then I'm going to use my straight ruler like this. I will give it a straight rule down to the down. And then the next thing, we're going to take out our darts. So for the darts that we're going to be taking out for this pattern, we're going to be making use of 3 inches darts. Yes, you heard me right, 3 inches, because I want it to be very curvy. So I'm going to come to my under bust line this way. I'm going to mark 2 inches to my left, to my right. This is my right, and that's the bigger network. Please don't. So I'll mark 2 inches to my right like this, and then 1 inch to my left. So from this point, I am going to create straight lines like this down. So there's a secret that I normally do. If the person has belly, boom, 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 I'm not going to mark. My darts are not going to be straight. My darts are going to be slanted. Why are they going to be slanted? Because let's accommodate the belly. So, but for this, the person, let's assume that this person has a very flat tummy. Person has a flat tummy like my own. Yes, flat tummy. I am going to mark this. So can you see my dart lines? They are straight. And then the next thing I am going to mark from this point, I am going to create a curve. Can you guys see? Yes. Pattern drafting is not a magic. It is a simple process. Okay, guys, it is a simple process. So now let's do this. We're going to create a curve. Can you see the beautiful curve that I created here? And then the same curve you create on the big side, you're going to create that same curve at your... I'm just enjoying myself. That's just the truth. I like pattern drafting. I think that's why. I'm just going to create it at this side. Can you see how beautiful this looks? Yes, it is a simple process. Like I normally say, it is a simple process. And then the next thing we are going to do, I want to open my phone and check. Let me not go and let me check the front of my part. Okay, yeah. Our neckline is like a sweetheart neckline. So the next thing we're going to do, let's come up, let's come up, let's come up. So for the top part of our neckline, let's mark a neckline of 3 inches. So why are we doing this 3 inches? We're using it as a guide. Okay, so you mark 3 inches here, and then we're going to mark 1 inch or 1.5. This is a guide, please note. So you need a guide when marking out necklines. So I'll just mark it that way. And then the next thing we are going to do now, we're going to mark our neckline. So to mark, in order for us to mark our neckline, we're going to come this way. You understand? Because our neckline is like a what do you call it? A sweetheart neckline, like a sweetheart neckline, because our yoke is going to come, our shoulder yoke is going to come, and then our neckline is going to come. Okay, so now in order for us to mark our neckline, depends on how deep we want this to be. So this is our chest line, which is already 8, so we can come up. So at this point, because I want that part to be a little bit covered, so let's come up by 1 inch. So just extend this line by 1 inch, okay? And then after extending this line by 1 inch, we are going to come down from this point. Now this is 8 inches, we can come down by 1 inch or 1/4 of an inch. If you notice, the neckline is not very opened, okay? So we curve it. So from this point now, we're going to curve it to create our what do you call it, to create our sweetheart neckline, okay? So but before then, let's tighten. You can tighten the chest area. Okay, so from this part now, I am going to do this. I'll just curve this into this point like this. Okay, so because I don't want to leave this part like this, let's give it a little bit of a tight. So in tightening, we can use 0.75 or use just half of an inch on both sides. So when you use half of an inch on both sides, so this is like just tightening it, you understand? Can you see? So when we tighten it like this, this is my line. My hands was no. That's why most times it's because I'm teaching you. It's good to use a pencil. When you are doing this on your own, use a pencil. But the truth of the matter, I hardly use pencil because I always know how to correct. I always know how to correct my patterns. So the next thing now, we are going to create our yoke. Okay. So in order for us to create our yoke is going to come like this. From this point, it is a shoulder yoke. It's going to hit our dart line. Do you understand? It is a simple process. So it depends on how wide you want it to be. That's from this point like this, okay? So our yoke is going to hit from this point like this. It's going to hit this point. So another thing we can do, we can add a shoulder yoke, a shoulder dart, but no need for a shoulder dart because it is a yoke. So from this point now, we are going to hit this point, not this one. As we're going to hit here now, we're going to hit this point. So in order for us to hit it, it depends on what you want. If you want it straight, so from the edge of the neckline, that is where you are going to do that. So hit, can you see? Hit this point, that's this dart leg on this right hand side. That is where you want to hit. You don't want to hit this one. If you hit this one, obviously that's let me use my pencil to show you guys. If you are going to be hitting this one, what you have just done, that's if you want to hit this one, this second dart leg like this, what you have done is that you have reduced the width of your neckline, so it's not going to align with your back neckline. So please note, you guys should please like this video. Those of you that are watching that have not liked, you see 3 dots at this end, just click it. You see the like button, please like it. I would appreciate that. Okay, so at the end of the day now, these ones we are going to cut off. So this neckline, this sweetheart neckline, in case you feel that you want to see show small of your business, from this chest line you can come down, depends on what you want, you understand? So you can come down by 1.5 inches. So this one, it depends on what you want. Just curve it into that line like that and come this way. And then in case you part, you feel that this part is too high, it's going to cover your business, and for those of people that want to, so you can just reduce it. So it depends on what you want. All right, so guys, we are done. The next thing, let's take out our full body measurement. So our full body measurement, like we did earlier on, our bust is 40. Okay, we divide 40 into 4, we're going to have 10. So we'll mark 10 inches like this, and then remember this 1 inch that we took out for that tightening. Guys, please bring it back into your pattern and then add your sewing allowance. Okay, and then what you have on your chest line, like I told you guys earlier on, you can just take your tape like this, mark it, and just come down straight like that. That's the same thing you have on your chest line. That is what you are going to mark on your bust point line, because all those area is the bust area. Okay, yes. So the next thing now, we're going to come to the under bust, which we use 34 inches. Okay, and that 34 inches we had 8.5 inches, mathematics. And then remember our dart. You guys remember that the dart we actually took a dart of 3 inches. So bring that 3 inches back into your pattern, please. When drafting a pattern, don't forget to, my people. And then add your stitching allowance. So for the stitching allowance, I used 2.5 inches. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to connect those lines. I'll just mark it. If you notice, I always like doing that just to see before I proceed. And then my waistline, my waistline is 36, which is 9 inches. And then remember the 3 inches that we took, bring that back into our pattern, and then you add your stitching allowance at this point. And then our hip line, we use 40 inches for our back pattern. And then remember your dart lines, bring that back into your pattern, and then add your stitching allowance. So at this point, so you can see, so place your curve. In case you don't have curves, people, when you are drafting pattern, don't kill yourself, please. Once upon a time, I did not have pattern curves. Okay, so from this point now, I want to create like a little bit of a basque for this waistline. Okay, if you notice, the blouse is not very long, but yet it still has a beautiful basque. So what I'm going to do, this is my waistline. So I'm going to, from this waistline, I'm going to come down with like just 1 inch or half of an inch safe, because when you are sewing this back and front, it has to align together. Okay, so from that point now, I'm going to take my curve like this. I'm going to take my curve like this. If you notice, that basque is a sharp basque, so let's sharpen it out. So you can see that down that I came down did not work. So you can see, so I'm going to mark it like this. Can you see? Yes, because the basque is not a straight basque. Okay, so now we are done, guys. So now let's cut out. When we are done, we cut them out and place them on our table, and then we are going to look at them. Yes. So guys, so like I said, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please, I would appreciate for you to subscribe. Hit on the notification so that you'll be getting all of our live stream pattern drafting. What did I just do? So now let's cut out our yoke, which is like the important part of this. All right. I'm just excited. So I just want to open it and show you guys first. Can you see how it is looking? This one, yes, this is something else that I just discovered now. Not discovered, not like discover. In case you don't want to cut off your yoke, you can use the same pattern for your dress, and it's going to be perfect. It's going to give you that Queen Annie vibe. Can you see? So now at this point, I've not cut out the yoke. You understand? I've not cut out the shoulder yoke, and you can see how it is looking. So you can still use your pattern this way, okay, in case you don't want to separate the yoke from it. All right, so let's continue. So now let's cut this part. I'm just loving the pattern. now I've cut out the side, and then I am going to cut this out now. You can see this is our dart, and then create your curve like this. Okay, I'm going to still cut out the yoke, but I just want to show you guys that in case you don't want to cut out your yoke, can you see? But do you know, guys, I will advise, if you are somebody that is sewing and your hand is not very strong, and why am I advising for you to cut out your yoke before I cut it out, is because when you are sewing, at times when you leave your yoke like this, if you are not a professional, that's if your hand is not very strong, you might have some issues, like it might be too long or something might gape. But if you cut out your yoke, you will be able to control it as you want by yourself. So let's cut out our yoke. Okay, so now let's cut out our yoke. So this is our front yoke. Let's label them. Front yoke. Then we have our 1 and our 2 patterns. So now I'm going to place all of these patterns for you guys to see how beautiful our pattern came out. So this is our back, that's our back piece. So this is our front piece. Can you see how beautiful our front piece looks? And then this is our back piece. The table is not even enough to size it. Let's just leave it. Let's enjoy the front piece also the way we enjoyed the back piece. Can you see? Can you see our shoulder yoke? You see, so let's try and see if we could for our back. Can you see our back piece? Our back piece came out very fine also. So let's see. And let me try it way. Anyhow I put it, everything did not enter. So guys, so thank you so much guys for watching. All of you that tuned in into our pattern drafting class for today. So I am going to see you guys. I pray. Let me not give you people dates, but I think on Thursday though. But I am not. I pray that I'm able to, because I have an assignment. So let's see if we have messages. Let me raise this a little bit, and then let's see. Okay, Angel. Good evening. Good evening. How are you doing, Helen? Thank you so much. Good evening, Ebube. Good evening, Anna and Anastasia. Wow. Good evening, Felicia. Good evening, Anastasia. You're watching from Ghana. Obiageli. Thank you so much. Okay, what of the zip allowance? Yes, when I'm transferring to my pattern, I'll add my zipper allowance. But if I don't want to add a zipper allowance, what I'm going to do for this back piece, I am going to take out 2 inches from it, because I want to add a, what do you call it? I want to add loops to it. Okay. Yes. Okay. So now, Fanny. Good evening. It's me, Fanny from Zambia. Hi everyone. Good evening, Obiageli. Thank you so much. Disu Olaide, good evening. So for those of you that are just joining us, we are done for our pattern drafting class for tonight. So guys, you can see how beautiful. So at the end of the day, I after doing this, you guys, this should be very easy for you guys to follow. So thank you so much, all of you that are tuned in into our pattern drafting class today. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in my next class today. I decided, no, as I came back, I did not clean my makeup. I said, because I want to do live stream in the evening. Even at that, the makeup I clean. Okay, so thank you so much, guys. I'll see you guys when I see you guys. God bless you all for tuning in. Appreciate each and every one of you.